more.
Lunch break!
Ooh, that's good.
What's up, guys? We have Zhan here.
Again.
We have Nirav, Bhakta.
Woo!
Today we're eating Mediterranean food.
Yes.
Switching it up.
Yeah, but I'm excited to talk about some projects that we worked on. So in the spirit of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month,
Which is May.
yes, which is May, it's our favorite month, we actually made 2 short films. And when I say we, Julie and I co-directed one, and Nirav.
I co-directed one.
Yeah. I guess in context, it was part of a bigger program called HBO APA Visionaries, and it's an ongoing program where they really highlight APA voices, and they make a competition out of it, but it's just a really great place to see original work and to discover new talent too, and connect with our community.
And this was the 3rd year that they've done it?
Yep.
Third year, yeah.
And also wanted to mention Shelly, who's not here. She was also the 2nd place winner. You know, make sure to check out her film too.
Yep.
You guys and Shelly were the top 3 chosen for HBO.
Yeah.
We worked on Zoetic together. Wes and Julie co-directed. We took 3rd place.
Benson worked on it as well.
Yeah.
This is the crew.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
APA crew.
So we made a short called Zoetic.
It is a coming of age story, but about a 60-year-old Chinese immigrant mom. So we don't get to see coming of age stories like that. And she is coerced into trying online dating for the first time by her daughter. And through the experience, the mom really starts learning to live life on, like, for herself and exploring what it is that she wants independent of her family. And the mother and daughter end up bonding in a way that we don't get to see often within Asian communities.
And what's Halva about?
So Halva revolves around an older Indian immigrant woman who decides to rekindle her relationship with her childhood companion through Facebook messages. Yeah, again, it's like we never really dive into these stories that revolve around people that are over 50. Mm-hmm. Even like for our generation of Asian Americans in America, we tend to see like the parental figures as two-dimensional. Mm-hmm. All 3 of our films kind of break that stereotype, and we go a little deeper into what our parents are and what their actual experiences are, because they've lived full lives.
Every year there's a prompt, and this year, what was it? Like,
Living in the digital modern age through the lens of an Asian.
we had known about the contest, but Julie was actually the one that approached me with a story, and then together we wrote a script, and then we co-directed, which was a new experience for us.
Yeah.
Because
Our
Julie
first time.
has been on a lot of Wong Fu productions, very, very long time. You're in a lot because you're good, because we like you.
Oh my gosh, for
And
the record.
cut. Great performance, Wes. Great acting.
I paid
That's
him
my
to
best
say that.
performance.
Yeah.
But it was really cool being able to direct with you and even learn how to direct with your acting perspective.
This was my first time really co-directing, and I learned so much from you and like the entire Wong Fu
Yes.
crew that we poached.
It's like you can learn every day.
I didn't get to hear too much
Yeah.
of your story, Nirav, of how like you got into the whole mix of, you know, HBO. Like
Number one, it's like, it's not really a competition per se, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
We're all-
Not a competition.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
not-
first
it's not
place
a-
winner. It's fine.
It's easy when you're at the top.
on a serious though, it's like, you know, the whole point of this is that we're trying to share our voices, and if all of us are collectively telling our stories, who's to say what's better than the other? You know what I mean?
I would say everyone that submitted or even shot something for the contest is a winner, because it really takes a lot of courage and energy just to get to that level, you know?
Yeah.
And we saw people's that didn't get, you know, to the finalist spot, and it's like, I'm just happy they made something, and
There
they
were
got
a
to.
lot of good films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nirav, you weren't originally a filmmaker, right?
Yeah, so I started off as an actor, and then I moved out here, and I quickly realized that everything was just like two-dimensional, stereotyped, and I was like, my intelligence isn't being used, and as a storyteller, I just felt like it wasn't coming from a place of truth. I started venturing into like storytelling, like what is storytelling? So I would do like random things. I was like, okay, do I learn Shakespeare or do I learn Indian classical dance? Indian classical dance goes all the way back to like ancient times, and it's like, it's all storytelling. So I was like, okay, I'll do that to kind of add something to this craft. And then I met my co-director, Gayatri Bajpai, and she cast me in her film. And since then, we collaborate on a docu-short, and then we did this. This was my first like narrative thing that I wrote and co-directed. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's funny because that even mirrors like our relationship. like a dancer actor that I cast.
Oh my God.
Right.
Right. That is like
That's
very
crazy.
synonymous.
Yeah.
And then through working with you just as an actor, now we're co-directors.
Why did you guys choose to tell these stories? I mean, I know our reason. Julie says it in a great way. But out of all stories, why this one?
Representation. I think with our lead actress, we had a conversation with her. She was always playing the Indian mother that's arranging someone's marriage. And again, like, if within the Asian community we're not giving these people full dimensional characters, like, Hollywood is not going to do that for them. So we originally came from that. And we were like, okay, let's make something together where you can be a full three-dimensional human being.
It's sad that Hollywood, like, they'll just choose one thing of a culture, right?
Yeah.
And say, oh, well, we know that they do arranged marriages, so we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And they have that for, like, every culture. It's like, oh, well, they do that one thing, and then that's the only thing we ever see.
Yeah, that's all they see.
Right? And even for us as a community, we haven't even touched all the stories yet. So if anyone's going to do it first, though, it should be us.
It should be us.
And you really did that. I like how you guys described the film as quiet.
Yeah.
I think it is a great quiet film that says so much. Like it's very layered, and in the parts with no dialogue, you actually see a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
And I really like that. That speaks to my own style too.
Yeah.
But even just the topics that you talk about, there's a lot packed in there.
Yeah.
And you feel everything. So.
Well, I always say, like, within like our own immigrant experiences, there's longing in our silence, there's pain in our silence, there's joy in our silence. Even in Zoetic, you guys had a really beautiful moment when you asked your mother if she's ever been in love. And then, like, you jump to this close-up of her eyes, and it's like you can read the world in her eyes, and it's the most beautiful shot.
It's like the first time she's ever been asked that. Like, half not knowing how to respond, but also half sad to realize it for the first time that
In 60 years.
Yeah.
And same with Shelley's film too.
Yeah.
It's also a quiet film in that there are a lot of moments where she wasn't afraid to just let the characters be and we're kind of this fly on the wall. Because I think a lot of immigrant parents don't use words.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Nothing is in the words, it's all in the actions. And I think all of the films really captured that really well.
So why make Zoetic?
It was such an intimately close story to me and my life. And that's what's interesting is when we create from a place of authenticity and from like a very personal, unique place, it ends up being a very universal story.
Yeah.
So when I approached Wes about I actually helped my real mom try online dating last year, which was a really beautiful, awkward experience just to even utter those words to her and for her to agree to it was incredible. And so that was sort of what inspired the topic and it was timely with the HBO theme. But when I told Wes about it, he saw his mom in it and his relationship with his Asian parent. And we just realized this isn't my story or even Wes's story, it's everyone's story. So it needed to be told.
When you come from an authentic place, it's what makes us human, and that's why everyone kind of connects with it. Even if you're not Asian, you still connect with these stories. Yeah. So that's why it's important, if you're a filmmaker, you gotta come from that truth. Yeah. Something cool about all three of our films is, in real life, like, our parents work so hard to like make a shield so they don't see what's actually happening to them. And in our films, we kind of break that wall. So we get in there.
The wall.
It's like, what's going on in your brain?
So everyone watching and listening, go get uncomfortable with your parents. Just like break those shields down.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful thing is you will learn like how badass your parents are and what they've been through to survive in this country or to even like give you the opportunities you have today.
And if anything, you will learn why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And you'll know why they get upset at you for certain things, why certain things they don't want to talk about. And that helps everyone, I think, when you can know where stuff comes from.
I always come across Asian Americans who had issues with their parents letting them go into the creative field.
Yeah, it's something we talk about quite a bit.
Oh, you do?
I mean, just because it's so common.
Well, I always have the same story of like, I was the third child, so I was the youngest. So I was able to kind of utilize my older brothers as kind of a distraction for all the stuff that I wanted to do. So
Puppet
I just
master.
kind of, yeah, going to film school, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
like,
I mean, it helps that you're like one of the most dedicated and like hardworking
Yeah.
people too.
I think a lot of it is just like, your parents, they just want the best for you.
Yeah.
And it, we say this all the time, but I think the biggest thing was, me being responsible and proving it to
Yeah.
not only myself, but, them. And that, like, if I was going to do this, I was going to put 100% into it.
I think we do have a sense of responsibility in this because we're coming off of the backs of our immigrant parents. And, they didn't just bust their asses to come all the way to America and go through what they went through to be here. So a lot of why they have conflicts with this is because they come from a place of survival. And even with us, like, okay, yeah, we now have this HBO APA platform. It's now our responsibility to kind of put a hand back and say, hey, like, you guys can do this too. If we did it, y'all can do it too. And I'm so thankful that I met like people you guys.
No, and that's what's beautiful. Like
Yeah.
we were all saying, this HBO Visionaries program is not
Yeah.
a competition
Yeah.
because everyone of the finalists are like truly amazing people, and it's been incredibly collaborative.
Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if you guys have been asked this yet, but do you guys have any advice or tips or warnings for the upcoming class of HBO creators?
Yeah, I think you have to be smart about it. This is HBO, so I think where a lot of people go wrong is they don't follow the tone of HBO in some ways. So follow the tone of HBO because your
So
movie...
Starbucks cups.
Dragons.
Dragons. Yeah, because I mean you have to think about it. In reality, our films are on HBO. It's crazy.
Next to Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
I literally
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, and with that, you got to be honest. You got to be authentic. That's the only way our stories worked and have been given this platform now. It's because we were true to what we knew.
Even 10 years ago, we were dealing with Asian stereotypes all over television and film. And it was really within the last 10 or 15 years that we started seeing better roles. And now we're in this phase where there's colorblind casting, and we see, the hipster Asian best friend, the funny comedic relief Asian, even Sandra Oh in Grey's Anatomy, just happened to be Asian, but she was a doctor. So that's fantastic, and I think
a step up.
we're moving in the right direction, right? Like put in
So what's
steps.
next though?
So I would say the next step is kind of what we're trying to do right now and what HBO is trying to do, which is integration. It's reintegrating the cultural aspects of who we are, our heritage, our family, our background, back into these fully fleshed out colorblind casting roles where we actually have a life. It's dynamic and it's intricate, but we aren't afraid to talk about our culture again and what our experiences are. So I would encourage you guys who want to submit next year to think from that perspective. Don't make it colorblind. Put your culture back into it.
Yeah, it's great that Hollywood has opened up roles, but now we want to see that, those roles, those people that you cast that are of color, or minorities, they have their own story too that is worth talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's also very important to note too is don't use a competition to determine whether or not you make something too. Like HBO is a great program to do this, but like if you got the time, write a script, get your friends together, and make something.
That was going to be my advice too. But thank you guys for watching and listening. A reminder to check out Halva and Moonwalk with Me, which is Shelley's film and our film Zoetic. Check them out on HBO and tell us what you think.
And thank you again to Nirav and Julie for joining us on lunch break today. And also, make sure to check out wongfustore.com. We got a bunch of new stuff.
Shout out to all the care holders. Thanks for helping us out all the time. And we'll see you next Thursday on another lunch break. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.